Hey, good people, how you doing? David Taub here. Hope all is well, and I hope your guitar journeys are going famously. What we're going to bring to you is a list of about 18 things that guitar players, musicians, we feel are very important to keep in mind. And I think these tips will help you along in your journey and things you should definitely consider. Some of them will be about the art of playing guitar. Some of them will be about maybe life and life goals. Some of them will be about music. And some will be about bands and relationships in that way. Some things specifically about guitar playing and learning the instrument. And the first thing is have a structured plan. That's so important. Have a well-rounded musical education. You really want to have a structured plan with identifiable goals based on what you want to learn, based on the music that you want to play, based on what you need to know as a player. And where a good teacher, whether it be a private teacher or a good instructional program like we have at Next Level Guitar, really want to follow that plan, set tangible goals that you can measure, and that will keep you moving forward in your guitar journey. If you're into guitar soloing, it's not just everything about guitar solos and guitar soloing and technique and whatnot. That's all great stuff, but don't forget about your rhythm playing. Your rhythm playing is so critical. So one really important thing is be good at your rhythm playing, work hard at it, know how to play in time, work with a metronome. But your rhythm playing is critical because most of the time if you're playing with a band, jamming with other people, you're playing rhythm guitar 90% of the time. Solos are very small sections of songs. In the end, the song will be remembered. You could have the most ripping guitar solo known to man. If it's in a really crappy song, no one's going to remember that, right? You're going to remember the song. So as well as you're playing rhythm so much, unless you're in like a jam band or something like that with just extended solos that go on forever, don't neglect your rhythm playing. I think your lead playing will only really ever be as good as your rhythm playing, so don't neglect it. And if you would like some more lessons that are not on YouTube, totally for free, click on that link in the YouTube description box, and I will send you some free video lessons, some ebooks, all for free, things that'll help you along in your guitar journey, and I think you'll like them. So just click on that link. And speaking of rhythm playing and soloing, another thing I think is critical is know the chords for what you're soloing on top of when you're practicing over a jam track, when you're playing or writing music, when you're creating, or when you're soloing with your band, or when you're playing at home. Two big things I think really help students is always know what key you're playing in. Even if you're just sitting there noodling around on the guitar, it really helps. Just know what key you're in. And also, always know what chords you're soloing over. So many times I get students, whether it be through my private lessons or questions, and the first thing, what chord, they ask me, what can I solo in this key? It's like the key is only part of it. You really want to know the chords. It's the chords that give you the full roadmap to what you can use soloing and improvisational wise. Another really good point for your consideration is I think it's important to learn a little bit of music theory. And I know a lot of people totally won't agree with that, but personally I think it's important. I'm not saying you have to have a black belt in music theory and it should supersede actually getting your hands and playing on the guitar. And I'm not saying learn all these abstract things. You certainly could if you want to, but I think what music theory does is it helps you along in your journey, and it gets you to certain levels and places faster. It helps you being able to understand things, especially even from a songwriting perspective. It'll point you in the right chords if you know how to build chords and what chords, what notes make up certain chords, and knowing the notes on the neck even. These are things that are just, I think, absolutely critical, especially the knowing the notes on the neck part of it. I think knowing a little bit of theory is really important. It will give you that language of music, and you'll be able to communicate better too with other musicians. For me, it's all about the sounds. Everything that it's a very audio-wise thing, right? It's all about the sounds we're creating and the moods we're creating, the emotions, the textures. It's all about the sound. So I think what's really important, especially for you lead guitar players, is studying the relationships between chords and scales. That really, really helped me early on in my journey. And I think it's something that every guitar player can benefit from. If you start to study that relationship, if you just ring out like an open, E chord, and then just start playing some scales over the top of it, different scales, and find what sounds best to your ears. What turns you on, right? What makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, right? Study that relationship. Play a chord, let it ring, or just put a track down that's wide open, maybe just one or two chords, and then try different things. Try some modal scales. Seeing what you like and what sounds best to your ears. What scales sound great over seventh chords? What modes sound great over, major chords, minor chords? It's so important, and it will really help you along, and especially in your soloing journey. It really helps us too. If you put a comment in the comment box, or maybe if you subscribe to our YouTube videos, that really helps us to be able to keep bringing the content and to keep bringing the lessons. So if you wouldn't mind, click on the link or subscribe to us. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Most guitar players kind of first start by learning some pentatonic scales, minor pentatonic scale, major pentatonic scales, and that's a great way to start. But a lot of times I find that guitar players kind of stop once they kind of master the pentatonics. And, they know those 5 positions and the expanded scales up and down the neck, and then that's it. But I think there's great value in going to the next step after that and learning your major scales and learning your natural minor scales and learning the modes of the major scales, because that really opens up the doors to so many other options. Obviously, the pentatonic scales are awesome. They're the most widely used scales in most genres of music. But, you don't want to limit yourself. So take the extra time to learn some other scales besides just the pentatonics. And a good place to start is with, major scales, natural minor scales, and the modes of the major scales. It will really open up the doors for you. And yes, it's more work, but it's incredibly invaluable. Another thing is that I'm sure all other musicians except guitar players will also agree on, is for us guitar players, is know where your volume knob is and also know how to use it. Most other musicians, usually probably 8 out of 10 will say, guitar players have this thing with volume and they always got to be blasting. So take into consideration that you want to play at a level that's equal, that's a good mix, again, where the song is going to stand out, not necessarily just the guitar, and you're drowning everyone out and potentially damaging your ears. So know when your guitar is in tune and out of tune. It's crazy. I go hear bands a lot. I'm a big fan of live music, and so many times I hear guitar players playing and their guitar is out of tune and they just keep going on their way, and it could sound a lot better, I think, if you kind of take the time, what it sounds like when your guitar is out of tune, and you're able to tune it quickly and silently, especially if you're playing on stage. That's another thing, man. That's really annoying when you're sitting there and you're in the audience and you hear someone da 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 da, and they're tuning the guitar loud where everyone could hear it. It tunes silently. It makes it more professional. Another thing to consider, I think, is critically important, is to develop your ear, and it's something that I think, as tablature has become more and more readily available, especially as the internet has developed over the past X amount of years, and it's so readily available to get it, it's kind of something where we've become dependent on it, I think, a little bit too much. Develop your ear and to practice at it, to start to learn how to play songs and figure them out by developing your ear. It takes a lot of work and time, and but it has huge benefits and will help you so much. Moving on now to some other aspects of guitar and music and band situations and whatnot, is I think something really, really important to consider is to choose your bandmates wisely. Picking people to play with in your band who you would want to hang out with. A lot of it is about the interpersonal relationships of these people that you're going to be choosing. It's not necessarily just about talent and choose the most talented person for the position, because if they turn out to be a total jerk, it's not fun. Who's going to want to play with them, and it's going to end up not working. So choose your bandmates wisely and choose them, people that you want to hang out with, people that you want to spend time with. And talking about bands and whatnot, I think it's important to try to set yourself up, especially at first, to be the weaker link in the chain amongst the musicians in the band, because that's how you're going to learn and grow. If you're in a band and you're always like the best by far player in the band, where are you going to go from there? What are you going to learn? You learn so much from playing with other people. Maybe that's how I should have worded this part of things to consider, is get out there and play with other people. Get out there and do it. Play with other people. You learn so much, right, from that, and be the weaker link in the chain. So when you go out there, look for players that are above your level a little bit, where you are that weaker link in the chain. It'll really push you to getting your shit together. It'll really push you to getting to that next level. And being the weaker link in the chain, man, you're going to grow and learn so much. It's so much better than always being the best in the band always. So get out there and do it. Get out of the basement. Stop bands that are just forever playing in their basement. Get out there and play in front of other people. Set some goals and then go out there and achieve them, right? You know, and want it really bad. It's so important. You got to really, you know, this takes a lot of work, a lot of hard work, and a lot of dedication. But the rewards are limitless, and you'll be playing guitar and enjoying it for the rest of your life, right? Anything worthwhile takes a lot of work, no matter, you know, what art you're doing or no matter what career you're choosing. Go after your dreams like your life depends on it, because really it does, right? Be nice. You know what I mean? There's enough jerks in this industry. And I'll tell you, man, nobody is irreplaceable. So you got to check your ego at the door, you know? And so much more will come to you in so many ways if you're just nice. Consider your bandmates. Consider the people that live with you if you're playing instruments loud. And, you know, when working with other people in the industry, in this industry, you're going to run into a lot of people who aren't so nice, right? And I always just say, you put that nicety out there, you'll get it back tenfold. And the last thing to keep in mind, I think, is that, you know, in this business, it's not just about talent, you know, and I know you probably know that, right? Unless you're some guitar prodigy, unless you're the next coming of Eddie Van Halen or Stevie Ray Vaughan or Jimi Hendrix, you know, a lot more goes into this than just talent. Just look at the top of a lot of the music charts right now, you know, a lot of empty musical calories up there, right? It's not just about talent. You need to have other skills too to help you along. You know, talent alone doesn't guarantee success. A lot also has to do with things like, you know, having good business sense. You know, being able to, you know, because this is a business for many of this. I'm not talking if you just want to sit there and play on your porch or something, but if you're looking to, you know, get into a band and play locally or play larger, or if you're a singer-songwriter, or, you know, and you're looking to take this to the next level or get into a career of it, image is important. Having a good business sense is important. Surrounding yourself with people who are going to make good business decisions, who are really looking out for, you know, your best interest musically and career-wise. 18 things that you should perhaps consider along in your guitar or musical journey. I hope they helped you. Thanks so much for joining us. Again, it really helps us if you can click on that subscribe button, subscribe to our YouTube videos. We'll let you know when we have more stuff coming out here. And also, you know, helps us if you can click on that link in the YouTube description box. I'll send you some free stuff, you know, no strings is attached, some free lessons, free ebook. All you have to do is just click on that link. Stay tuned for more great stuff. Again, we so appreciate your support. And remember, your guitar playing is an evolution. Stay positive.